Hello everyone, as usual it's no one else but me, Pavlo, and today we'll be talking about interesting audio gear. So I'm sure almost everyone knows the company HiBy, or HiBy Music is their longer official name. And of course, first of all, they are well known as software creators at the beginning, but then they shifted towards hardware production, and actually now more people know it as a company that makes digital audio players, portable digital tonal converters, earphones, Bluetooth receivers, so some interesting gear with a lot of interesting software innovations. I reviewed a lot of their stuff in the past, you know, if you're following my channel. Actually, they recently made few really successful releases in terms of price to quality ratio. So it also was covered on my channel, but they decided to get attention of the wider audience, and they started sub-brand named HiBy Digital, and they released the player M300. Actually, here is the box. As you can see, just plain cardboard, so nothing fancy from the outside, but we'll see everything when I'll switch to the unboxing. And they also released an earphones to pair with this player or with something else. It's just $30 single dynamic driver model. They named it XOE. XOE, not sure. So I will cover them in this review too, because they not supposed to come together, but it definitely was one of the ideas. So, player named M300, and it has a lot of interesting things. First of all, it's the cheapest dedicated Android player, because it costs $200, and for this price you're getting a lot of exciting things. So, first of all, it's stylish and pretty compact. It runs Android 13, it uses Cirrus Logic 43131, one cheap digital tonal converter. It has microphones, actually stereo microphone, built-in speaker, FM radio, and a lot of other interesting things. And it's open Android, you're getting Play Store, so you can install any software. And HiBy named it as Gen Z player. I'm definitely not a Gen Z, and I'm not sure is anyone from Gen Z interested in player at all, but HiBy promoted as a player that you can use to browse TikTok, YouTube, or something else. And definitely it suits these needs. You can make it with many other players too, but this one is also oriented for that. It offers 3 GB of RAM and 32 GB of built-in flash, supports micro SD card with up to 2 TB capacity. Nice screen, 4-inch screen with 2080 by 640 resolution, nice viewing angle. So in general it's a pretty good device and pretty interesting overall, from the overall point of view, but at the same time it's definitely not targeted for the audiophiles, because first of all we have only single-ended output, 3.5mm with about 100 milliwatts of power, and it's more than enough for the audience that player is targeted for. But of course seasoned audiophiles wanted more power, balanced out, which actually doesn't make sense in this area, because I'm trying to think about some metaphor here. Regular consumer car doesn't need to go up to 300 kilometers per hour. It's not its goal and purpose, so the same here. And also, which is a bit more of drawback, but also probably more from audiophile perspective, it doesn't include the system improvements that HiBy usually offers, like system-wide equalizer and MSEB, and system-wide Android sample rate converter bypass. So it does resampling, but as I've understood from the HiBy explanation, actually it's a bit complicated one, so we will probably need to wait for some tests that show it. So this resampler won't change much signal up to 96 kilohertz. So I'm not focused on that harassing guy, and for me it's more important how it sounds, but of course vast majority of audiophiles will prefer DSD 512 non-resampled, 386 kilohertz 32 bits non-resampled, and so on and so forth. So I already told you about main drawbacks, and if you're still with me, let's talk about this player in more details. Probably one additional thing I need to mention in terms of specifications: it has 2000 mAh battery, because the case is pretty small, and it charges in about 1 hour, which is pretty good. And in terms of pure music playback, it can last up to 15 hours more or less. In regular scenarios it's about 12-13 hours with some normal load. But it can be good as a Bluetooth player. Actually it will run longer, and actually that's the device I'd like to have for some time. But if you will be using screen really actively, like constantly watching YouTube or something like that, of course battery lifetime will be noticeably decreased. But actually let's have a closer look and discuss sound and other stuff all too. Now let's proceed to that part when I unbox it all, and I unbox it now. Let's start with the player. Simple cardboard box, really compact. On top we've got player itself. I have a blue color, there are also silver and black ones. Maybe there will be some other color schemas, but not sure. And out of all accessories you'll get just USB Type-C to Type-A cable. Even no case in the basic accessory set, and also you'll get this envelope with some papers like quick start manual, warranty card and stuff like that. And earphones. Actually package looks a bit more trendy with this circle. And let's pull it out, or not out. It seems to be holding somewhere on the top. Yep, it's glued. As you can see, I've got pair with matched colors. Interesting pouch, better than velvet, but still like not the perfect materials. Some papers again, 3 pair of tips, and earphones themselves. Actually, let's see their design. Pretty unusual in terms of design. 2 colorful parts on the front and back side, and on the side you can see the dynamic drivers through this transparent part. And also there is a noticeable big vent hole on the outer side, but actually sound isolation is about average with them. At least for me they give nice good comfort of wearing. They fit nicely into my ears, and if you swap left and right you can use over the ear wearing, but in this case of course channels will also be swapped, like absolutely regular silicone isolated wires, pretty soft with low microphonic effect, big block with microphone, and really nice buttons for the playback control with good click, and it goes down to this 4-pole jack. So as you can see, in terms of design, earphones are pretty nice, and about the design of the player we'll talk in the next part. When it comes to design, I can say that I really like it, and also I thought to myself that I miss times when mobile phones were small, and I'd really like to get a smartphone with similar design. I'm okay with bigger thickness, but I'd like to see it really small. And actually it bears a lot of typical smartphone-like features. On the bottom we have USB Type-C for charging and to access internal memory, also built-in speaker, 3.5mm out for the headphones. Here goes a slot for microSD up to 2 terabytes, and also lanyard holder, and actually I think they could put that lanyard in the accessories set. It's cheap and would make a lot of sense. On the top we've got 2 microphones to make record stereo. Also we have a LED indicator, as usual multicolored LED. Actually, as far as I remember, HiBy was the pioneers of adding such multicolored LED indicating resolution and stuff. On-off button, then double button to change volume up down, and double button for tracks navigation. And also we have custom function toggle. Actually it's not even button, it's toggle, and you can assign few functions to this button, but usually it holds as it works as a hold button. When we click, here is the screen, not edge to edge, but looks pretty adequate for this size of the device. Just 4 inches, but with pretty nice viewing angles. Not super bright, but pretty enough for the bright conditions. It's maximum brightness, and I have really bright studio lights. And as I've said, 1280 by 640. So let me show it closer, and actually nice registration of swipes and other stuff, like all that we can expect for the modern smartphones. Also, HiBy applied protective film on the front and back panel. Actually, here is the back panel. Both front and back are covered with glass and looks pretty nice. In my opinion, blue color is one of the most stylish, but of course tastes differ. It fits really well into the hands. It fits nicely into your jeans pockets, and actually it makes a lot of sense as a small portable device. Small correction about the design. So actually this is not previous next track button, it's play pause button and next track one. So either previous track is hidden under some complex combination of buttons like double, triple clicks or something like that, or it has just forward and play pause. What is even more surprised, that play pause and next track directed to pointing to different directions, but they should have been pointing one. But of course skipping track is more used operation than rewinding. In terms of firmware, actually it's pretty straightforward. It's just basic Android 13 with really few changes, and even though some customization options here in the drop-down menu and just one customizable thing, it's in the system. You can select no, not gestures, but this function key. By default it works as key lock, locking these buttons except of power button, so you won't change track or volume accidentally if it's somewhere in the pocket or so. You can activate sound record, you can flip screen vertically, not sure what's the purpose, and you can mute the external speaker. Sometimes it can be pretty convenient, because playing music aloud is not something that you want in many cases. But actually you can hear that speaker is working. Speaker quality of course is super basic. Bass is weak, and don't expect some rich saturated treble. Main focus is at the mid frequencies, but like that's what we can expect from the affordable device speaker. As you can see, main thing here is HiBy Music. I won't do walkthrough for it because I talk about HiBy Music many times in the past. Also, you've got calendar, Play Store, sound recorder, pretty basic one, gallery, VIA. I don't know what is VIA, probably some kind of browser, not sure about its purpose. Then FM radio, really nice, with possibilities to search FM stations. And it tries to get some stations, but sometimes it gets something really weird. I don't know what are the local stations, but here is something that I found. You can preset some frequencies, you can record it and play pause. So what else we need for the FM radio? Calculator, clock, some file explorer, I'm also not familiar with it, built-in files and settings, and that's it. But you can install whatever you want from the settings, and basically it's just Android and professional version of HiBy player. So let's talk shortly about this earphone sound, because they actually created like a fancy bonus accessory to the player itself. They have really mass market tuning with noticeable accent on the low and high frequencies, so it's V-shaped signature, not overdone, but still making accent more on the fun sounding. So punchy bass with added weight, sometimes lacking a bit of resolution, and with main accent on mid and deeper bass, and recessed mids, still nice clarity, but of course in many cases it can be shadowed by the bass. And accented treble, pretty simple with nice attacks and decays, but just average extension. And the main role of treble here is just to compensate bass, and actually it succeeds. With some genres and styles, with some tracks like, for example, The Antwoord, it sounds pretty pleasant. And with modern music, which actually I think creators have in mind when created this player and these earphones, it sounds really enjoyable. Not something audiophilic, but definitely not a bad option as for mass market. But let's see what we'll get with this player, with something more advanced. And of course about the sound, actually sound is pretty good. Of course, don't expect something stellar. It's just 143, 131 Cyrus Logic chip. It's good and it delivers nice results. Pretty balanced sound signature with slightly boosted fun factor, but not too much. So of course don't expect that super rich layering or some other audiophilic stuff. It's just not a player for the audiophiles, and if you need something like more technical, you are welcome to get something in $400-500 price range. But for $200 you're getting pretty decent price. Pretty decent sound for this price. Bass is slightly accented in terms of impact, and it has a good detalization, but like main details, some tiny nuances are missing, but still level of realism of low frequencies stays pretty good. So it's universal, it fits both electronic music or like pop music where you need impact and power and other stuff, and at the same time it's pretty decent also with acoustic instruments. Of course it won't be as rich in terms of small bass details and texturing like $500 players, but still you'll get it in a pretty enjoyable way without any attempts to overdo that. And first example, it's Yello Rubberbandman. Yep, I trained to pronounce the name of this track. It starts with fun, unusual vocal samples and then appears bass. And actually Yello is pretty enjoyable with the samples they use, with their work with low frequencies and other, also with also they are famous for 3D effects and all that things this player delivers on a pretty nice level. Mid frequencies also like on the normal level, don't expect something super stellar, but it's pretty honest and it's well balanced. Normal level of details without going to the analytical sound or monitoring, but at the same time I like how it distributes weight. It's like signature thing that 43131 does pretty well. So nice weight distribution in the even for the non-perfect records, and also good amount of weight and body for vocals, and female vocals also sound pretty crisp. Imaginary stage is also above average, which is really nice. Everything is positioned well. Maybe some instruments seems to be a bit smaller than they are, but not too much, and depth layering is also pretty decent, and like, it's one of the reasons to use some good digital to analog converter or some basic player like this one compared to the regular smartphones, because for regular smartphones like with headphones out or with like the stock cheap adapters, they usually deliver a really flat stage. So here you'll get that improvement. It's not super critical for the quality of records, but at the same time getting something better mastered will be beneficial, so you will be able to hear difference between between different masters, between different editions and stuff like that. Example for the mid frequencies is Queen, Who Wants to Live Forever, one of my favorite ballads in the history of the music, especially how it matches the movie and how it's positioned there, and orchestral part, vocal, and part that bands play, everything sounds really nice. Of course it's lacking treble layering to fully represent it, but thanks to good mastering it sounds pretty nice and engaging. And treble is like, it's normal, there is no attempt to boost it or to hide, and extension is slightly above average, so don't expect like rich layering over or far overtoned, high overtone saturation, but basic overtones are present here. They show a bit of lightweight character, sounding a bit airy, but it won't be a huge issue. Of course it's lacking a bit of weight in the treble area, but at the same time you're getting more spacious representation of the treble. It will be good for vast majority of music because timbre-rich instrument sounds nicely, but of course not enough to represent some orchestral pieces, something live, or things like jazz at the pawn shop. But also people who listen such music is not a target audience for it. And last example, actually what I've said, it's Led Zeppelin, Since I've Been Loving You, and like Led Zeppelin's signature guitar sound that goes to the treble area, and it sounds pretty nicely. Of course some far-going trails are missing, but at the same time basic overtone saturation is good and you're getting nice sense of this airy guitar. In terms of driving power, it's good with in-ear monitors, pretty low background noise, so even with sensitive models there is no huge issues, and it can drive some sensitive full-size headphones, not something high impedance or tough to drive, but reasonably sensitive cans, like I don't know, some Sivga models or Meze 99, it will drive them properly. And of course it's a great driver for the Bluetooth headphones, for example. Speaking about the comparisons, actually the only model that came to my mind, it's HiBy own R3 second version that I reviewed recently. They are similarly priced, but with a lot of difference in the ideas, and even not speaking about functionality, because here you're getting Android, you're getting streaming services, third-party applications, games, and whatever you'd like. And R3.2 is using HiBy's own firmware, and streaming are limited to the Cubos and Tidal, and without offline mode for them. In terms of sound, R3.2 a bit better. It's more impactful, more technical, with better treble extension and performance, but at the same time it's a matter of what you need, like slightly better sound or more features. And I think HiBy did this on purpose to separate these two models a little bit. So, to summarize everything, there are some drawbacks in this model, and it will be heavily criticized, but in my opinion that for its price it delivers a lot of great things, and I have hopes that some of drawbacks will be addressed with firmware updates. Not sure will it be true or not, but it's a great player for daily commute, for daily usage, when you need something compact with a good set of features that you will be using with some not super expensive earphones or with some Bluetooth device. Actually, for Bluetooth it's almost perfect, and I really like it in terms of design, how it feels in hand, and so on. So thank you for listening, thank you for your attention, and of course have a great day.